Karina, get me an XL from the fridge. Thanks, sweetie. I get the time wrong? Today's Tuesday, right?
Hello, everyone. We'll start in about 2 minutes. Just going to give some others some time to join us. See, we already got almost 20 people in.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey everyone.
Just checking my audio's all good. Cameron, can you confirm?
Yeah, the audio is all good.
Cool. We'll start in like 30 seconds, just giving some more time to others to join us. Is Max here? Just wondering.
Hello, hello.
Hey, man. Good to hear.
How's it going, man?
Yeah, good. All right, and time is up. So I'm your presenter, Henrik. I'll be doing our event for today, and the main goal is to show you guys and explore a little bit about voice AI and appointment setters. So I'm guessing most of you are coming from Jack Roberts' community, and I'd like to thank Max, Gibson, and Tara, who I've talked to who have helped set up these events for this whole week. It's pretty exciting.
They're very fun.
Yeah. I'm actually quite nervous, so I'm just taking a breath here.
No worries, man. No worries at all. Seriously.
Chill out, man. All good.
Yeah. Cool. So I know most of you come from Jack's community, right? At least I'm assuming. So what I've done is I've set up a scenario in make.com to try and show you guys how Voice AI works, and hopefully I will be able to present that using this setup. So I've got on my phone Slack downloaded. I've got my own channel set up, and I'm going to make a voice note. What this scenario will do is it will grab that voice note and then send me back an audio message. So hopefully you guys will get to hear that. And I'm just going to jump to my Slack, record an audio clip, and 2025 is going to be a big year for Voice AI. So I'm just sending that through on my Slack. That's gone through, and now I want to click around once on my scenario. It will fetch that. So now it's transcribing this, which is exactly what I just said then. Just giving it some time to have a think about what it did. This is my brain or the LLM, and it's created a response in text. And now what's happening is it's generating an audio for me that will automatically reply to my voice message. And usually when I did my test runs this morning, it took a couple seconds. And first time now, it's taken more than that.
Yeah, that's how it always works, right? When you're
Yeah,
watching
it's. I'm just gonna try again. You guys know how it is. Just gonna have to record that again. 2025 is going to be a big year for Voice AI. Okay, let's try again. I think the other one is still running. Imagine that. I ran it like 20 times today. I'll even show you guys the scenario runs.
It happens to us too when we try to show other people, so don't worry.
Yeah, see, like all these were successful runs and like under 13 seconds, 15, 17. Okay, something's happening. Let's see. So I was just giving it some time to think. That's what I was going to explain. And that should have been the same message. Fingers crossed. There we go. Okay. So now it's replied to my Slack message. And I'm just going to play that back. Hopefully you guys can hear that on my phone.
Absolutely. 2025 is set to be a game changer for Voice AI. At this rate, my voice assistant will soon be giving me relationship advice. Maybe I'll finally learn the best way to communicate with my toaster.
Okay. I told it to give me a little joke. So that's the little prompt I gave in the brain here. But as you guys seen, that is basically the structure of how Voice AI works. I send a voice message to be downloaded, then transcribed, and then basically give me a joke and make it cheesy, and then I'll show you the prompt. It's a quick few lines. Your job is to reply to a Slack message, make it humorous, and for context, we speak in a private channel, avoid using emojis. It then converted that text to speech using to audio, which is what you guys heard. And then if you loop that, that actually is how platforms like Vappy and Retail, if you've heard of those, create a real life conversation. And this is where I'd like to then go into talking about, so that's how speech to text, TTS, is then sent to the LLM or a large language model, and then it is then converted into text-to-speech, or TTS, and that's how all that works. If you guys don't know me, my name is Henrik, and this year we've just done over 18 projects for our Voice AI agents. Probably our highest revenue month this year between me and my business partner was about 65K USD. And we just launched a course that teaches you everything from A to Z completely for free. And you get to learn and progress with other like-minded individuals. And our goal is actually just to provide you with financial and geographical freedom. So I'm going to put this file, this Figma file, which you guys will have access to. And this is where I'll put the recordings. After this, I'll give you all the templates and stuff after this as well. I'm going to update it later on with my Google Drive, and you guys can just tap in and use stuff however you like. And this is what I'm using also for the presentation. So if you'd like to sign up for the Voice AI Bootcamp, we also had our first session yesterday. We had about 50 members join there. So you're welcome to join us there as well. So that's the chart. That's a screenshot from yesterday's session. But our main thing that I wanted to show you is actually a few demos of my Voice AI agents. And these are, I'd say, more on the basic side. They do one thing very specifically. They book appointments for a specific business. So our clients come from various niches. We've had from real estate to VoIP kind of companies or businesses to Fortune 500 companies. And at this time, if you've never seen this before, this platform is called Retail. And what it does is it helps to mimic, it creates the illusion of speaking with a human. So this thing that you see on the left-hand side here, that's the prompt. And the person that we are talking to is called Ellen, the person. And she works for a wellness studio. They help out and do massages and things like that. So our goal is to give her a call right now and then see if we can book an appointment with her. And as you guys can see, this is my calendar. I've done one test call before this, and I managed to book in at 5 p.m. I will now try to book for 6 p.m. and see if that works. Well, actually, I might have to share this specific tab. Just give me a sec, because you guys might not hear the audio otherwise. And please give me a heads up if you can't hear it.
Hello, welcome to Serenity Wellness Studio, first name. You're calling me on a recorded line. How can I help?
Geez, you sound like you're sick. Can I book an appointment, please?
Of course. Let's get that sorted for you. Could you tell me the reason for your visit? This will help me recommend the best treatment for you.
So I've had neck pain for the past 2 weeks. I was probably looking at the deep tissue massage.
Deep tissue massage is a great choice for addressing neck pain. Do you have a preferred day and time in mind?
How about Thursday in the afternoon or evening?
Let me check the availability for Thursday afternoon and evening. We have a few slots available on Thursday, 12 p.m., 4 p.m., or 6 p.m. Which one works best for you?
Yeah, great. Could we do the 6 p.m., please?
Perfect. I'll book you in for a deep tissue massage at 6 p.m. on Thursday. Could I have your name and phone number, please?
Yeah, my name's Henrik, Henryk, and my phone number is 663-666-177.
You're all set for your deep tissue massage. Please arrive 10 minutes early and note our 24-hour cancellation policy. Your appointment has been successfully scheduled. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Thursday. Goodbye.
Cool. So she just ended the call, and let's share my Google Calendar, in the background, because I couldn't share one tab. That's now booked me in for the deep tissue massage. That was the number that I just told her. And yeah, that was all done automatically in the back end. And that's actually all handled by Retail. So retail has natively already, they take care of the whole booking stuff for you in the back end. So they use cal.com, and you've got the book appointment and check availability tools that lets us do this. So if you're a beginner and if you want to jump into retail, they offer 60 minutes free calling at the start, and you can just come and play around. If you would like to, like learn on how to set this up, we do this in our Voice AI bootcamp, and I do it step by step there. Or you can also watch my YouTube video, which teaches you how to do that as well. And you can just go there and create your own assistant. I've actually got a whole that exact prompt in there. All you do is you put your API key in from retail, and it automatically creates the assistant for you. So that will create that for you. And hopefully that gives you, if you've never seen Voice AI, that kind of gives you a bit of a more depth into, or idea into how this could then be used in the real world. So my second demo, I'm actually going to use a platform called Vappy. Now you might be thinking, Vappy or retail, which one's better? It just depends on which one you like more. I can't tell you. There's quite a bit of differences. Vappy, for one, doesn't do the whole booking stuff for us in the back end, just natively. So, however, Vappy, for example, lets us connect to your phone number, like your phone or your phone number, a lot easier. So, there's like little quirks of each platform, but they both, in the end, do the same job. They create the illusion of speaking with a human, which is exactly what we want. So, I'm going to jump into Vappy now, and hopefully this demo will also go well. So far, I'm 1 out of 2. Let's see if we can make it 2 out of 3. So share this tab instead, and I've got an assistant here called Ellen as well. And I've just got this really quick prompt in here. Now, her job is just to try and book someone into my calendar. So this is for Henrik's consultation. And the only thing she has to gather from me is my name. But with being a receptionist, we could get her to ask pretty much any question that we want, gather it, and then send it over after the call or during the call to our calendar, or some kind of like end of call report. So I will now try and call her, and in the back, I've actually running a make.com scenario, which I'll show you guys after this, because I have to share the Vappy screen, right? So I'm just going to give it a call, and let me know if you guys can't hear it.
Hello, I'm Ellen, an AI voice receptionist.
Hey, how's it going? I was looking at Henrik's YouTube videos, wondering if I could talk to him.
Hey, I'm doing well, thanks for asking. So, when would you like to schedule a time to chat with Henrik?
How about tomorrow sometime? I'm free all day.
Great, what's your name?
My name's Bob.
Nice to meet you, Bob. Let me check Henrik's availability for tomorrow. 1 sec.
Yeah, something went wrong, obviously. All right, I will just show you what was meant to happen. Let me just show you. I knew I should have recorded just the actual audio of it, of her booking in, but I've got a scenario here set up. So this one here, and what she would have done is she would have ran, and I'll just show you guys a scenario that happens. So basically, she will use a tool within Vappy sent through a time that I requested. So for example, and this is given in this sort of format. So she would have done that actually. That would have gotten sent through, checked my Google Calendar for, Google Calendar checks for any busy slots. And if I have none, then she would have replied with, okay, so all day is free, and then I'll be then able to choose a slot. And then next, after that, once I would have chosen a slot. Actually, want to figure out why it didn't work in the first place. I think I changed the webhook URL. Then it would have booked in, and I've actually got a built-in way of checking whether that slot isn't taken. So we've done over like 50,000 calls this year with AI alone. And we've noticed that when people book, they choose a time that the AI didn't give them. So you've got to go in there and create validation sort of things before you actually finalize the booking. And what would have happened here is I would have received an SMS to confirm that happening. I'll just show you guys the SMS that I got before. I'm not sure if that'll actually come up on the screen here. Probably not. But it sends the Google link to that person and the time. So they can jump in at that specific time after the booking occurred. And notice I didn't get the email of the person, but that actually makes the conversation run about 1.5 minutes faster, which saves us time and the client who's calling in, or lead or customer, the pain of trying to spell out the email constantly. So that's a workaround we have. Now, you guys will be getting this template, this one here specifically. I have, because I've got a YouTube video specifically made for it, so it would be easier for you to follow along if you're just starting out. So it's this one here. You'll be able to jump in there. I think on my Gumroad, I've set it up on there, so you can actually take it right now if you'd like, and just use it from the get-go. Just notice that this is, I think, like a note of warning. This is just for getting to learn how to use this Voice AI things. So, cool. What else? And I think lastly, we're running 20 minutes into the session. Lastly, I'd probably like to just show you the results and the use cases that we've had. So one of the use cases that we've had this year was a lead revival sort of use case. So the main idea for this company was to contact leads who have been previously interacting with the company, but they never had the chance to convert the clients. So they were essentially they had like a list of these people, but they never had the time or the manpower to call them. So we would then contact them using AI and then tell them of a special discount or some kind of product or an upsell and see whether they were interested in it or not. So that was our use case. And these are some project stats that we had. We contacted over 20,000 people. We made 36,000 calls. We contacted roughly everyone twice. Now, the reason is we do a double call combo. So we called them once, and X amount of time later, we call them again if they didn't pick up or it went to voicemail. And that increased our pickup rates to about 30% in the end, which was quite good. And then the completion rate, and what does it mean for like an actual complete call? It means that the call ended up in a booking. So what then happened is we created a booking in that company's calendar, and a real person would then call back the person that we just called with AI. And we managed to book 27.5% of those calls that we made, which actually turns out to be 5,500 booked calls. Now, this cost us about 3K in USD just for VAPI alone. The cost probably would have been more if we didn't move to NA10. Notice we've got a thing here called NA10. It's like another version of Make.com. The reason we transitioned to NA10 is because Make.com was costing us quite a lot in operations. We were reaching like $800 a month just for running Make.com. So we had to swap to something that wouldn't cost us in operations. So we lowered it to about 4K. Now, the product that they were selling, or the upsell or the special discount, on average, this thing cost about 3K, this company that we were calling for. Now, I'm just running some numbers here, so stick with me. if the salesperson that called the person that just booked, they closed about just half a percent, which is about 28 people from that 5.5K people, it would give them about $80,000 profit. So the return is huge for this kind of thing. And you can just have a look at the numbers here while I just pause for a sec. And a question to everyone here, a little fun game. So it took us, it would have taken us, if we ran at the specific rate that we ran at for a week, it would have taken us 15 days to do 36K calls. My question to you, everyone, and if you could leave a comment, if you could leave like a guess in the chat here, how long do you think it would have taken a human to do 36,000 calls? And just to give you an idea while you're thinking about that, a very well-trained person that is extremely concentrated, doesn't get distracted, doesn't sleep too much, and works for 6 hours straight, can do 60 calls a day for about 5 minutes each. How long do you think it would take for someone to do 36,000 calls?
Well, 2,500 hours, something like that.
Sorry, what was that?
Just trying to figure out. So, let's see. Probably about 20 weeks, something like that.
Okay. We've got one guess of 20 weeks. What else?
I'd put in a guess around probably 3 years. What, 60 calls a day, you said?
Yeah.
So about 300, 300 a week.
Mm-hmm. So 3 years. Okay, cool.
There's lots in the chat saying 1 year, 600 days, 5 years, 10 years, 3 years.
Oh, sorry, I didn't actually see that chat. I needed to scroll down. 600 days. Yeah, okay. 600 days, 1.7 years, and what else was there?
10 years.
10 years, yep. Right. So I did some quick math before, and I assumed, I just want to change my, excuse me, a little notepad. So our AI was doing about, on average, 60 calls every 12 minutes. So it was contacting 70 people every 12 minutes. It's not actually, yeah, it was doing a bit more calls than that, but it was contacting 70 people every 12 minutes. So it worked for 11 hours a day. In that kind of scenario, it would have finished the whole campaign in about 15 days. So about roughly 2 weeks. Now a human, and I assumed this was a superhuman, right? So he took no breaks. All he did was sleep, eat, and call people for about 6 to 8 hours a day. And so I assumed that roughly 72 calls a day, it would have taken him, and this is for the superhuman, right? It would have taken him 500 days. Oops, I lost stuff here. So that was at 72 calls a day. So I said 60 before, and 500 days, if that didn't click too much, that's actually 2 years of someone's life. So I think like you guys were very close on these to like my rough guesstimate of like a superhuman working on this for like day in, day out, which is why this business never actually managed to call all those people. There's just no one that would want to do that for that long, nonstop. So this is where we stepped in as a voice AI sort of solution provider. In the end, the solutions was that this thing was 32 times faster at doing the job. And this is me being actually a bit pessimistic because I think a human would actually take a lot longer than just 500 days. And it was 20 times cheaper. So to pay someone to work for around 2 years, it would be roughly 80K USD. and we are assuming that they're healthy all the time and not complaining about anything going on as well. So yeah, that's one of our use cases. Hopefully you guys took quite a lot from that. I'm about 30 minutes in now, so that's when I was going to take some Q&As. You can raise your hand if you'd like to ask me something about this, and yeah.
Henrik, before we go to the Q&A, I think there was some questions from earlier, if I can just jump to them quickly.
Oh yeah, perfect, great. Yep.
So someone said we're sharing the make.com JSON. Is that going to happen?
Yeah, so I'll be sharing this one here with you guys. This one here, the Slack one, and I think that's it for now. Yeah.
Okay, just two quick more and then we can go live. So another question was, what happens if you ask, so a client, if they're calling the AI, so if they ask a question that's not in the training set, like what would happen in that instance?
Yeah, it kind of depends how your prompt looks like. So when you guys saw this prompt here before, this thing controls the way our AI reacts. So you're not actually training the AI on your data. You're just giving it instructions and information that it can give to the person. So if you don't provide enough info, it might do a thing that is called hallucination, and it might actually provide the wrong answer. So let's say you are running a shop that sells t-shirts and you don't provide the cost of your t-shirts in your knowledge base or in the prompt, and the person asks how much are your t-shirts, it will make up a random number for the t-shirts, especially if you didn't write it in the prompt. So if you didn't write in the prompt, do not provide or make up cost, then it will most likely hallucinate. So it's all up to the prompt engineering in the end and testing the system before it goes out. Hopefully that answered your question from before.
Yeah, I think there's just a quick follow-up on that. So what would you say the best practices are to prevent those hallucinations? Is just being really specific with the prompt, like you say? Do people use knowledge bases, for example?
I got to tell you, at the moment, I spent about like a day on writing a pretty polished prompt, and then I spent roughly 2 weeks testing the thing. And I'm testing for that long because I'm testing exactly for those things that you mentioned. I do not want them to come up during when clients are calling it later on. But then what happens is you get things called edge cases when this thing goes into production. So edge cases are things that you didn't think of before you release this system out into the real world. And like the example from before that I mentioned, someone picking a time that the AI didn't give. That wasn't a thing I didn't think of when I was starting this out, but now it's in every single one of my systems, along with like buffer times and other things as well. So you just learn over time to try and prompt stuff out for one, or have fallbacks or backups in your back end to help with that. Another thing you could do as well is have your transcripts be analyzed at the end of each call and collect the questions that come through at the end of each call, at the end of each successful call, and then try and then put them into your knowledge base. So your client that we are selling this to, they will then update the knowledge base, and then our voice agent will have more information ready at hand.
Okay, awesome. I was going to say, Kevin, would you like to jump in with a question? I think you put your hand up.
Hi, guys. Yes, because I don't know if I didn't miss the last example. Was it in outbound, actually, or it was an inbound call?
Yeah, I don't think I specified that, did I? Yes, it was an outbound. Yeah, so we were contacting people from about 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. in various time zones. And yeah, it was an outbound for warm, like a warm lead. It wasn't a cold lead, which is a complete different thing when you're setting up an outbound campaign. It's for cold leads. Those numbers that you guys will saw will be drastically different. This was for a list that people knew, they already knew the company that was calling them.
Okay, so following up on that, you say the results will be drastically different when you do this with cold called outbound, let's say?
Oh yeah, huge.
All right.
Our first few projects were for cold outbound, and the results weren't great. The reception wasn't great as well, which is why we focus on inbound agents, and we focus on solutions that help with warm leads, basically. So just to narrow that down.
Great. Thank you very much, Henrik.
Yeah, no worries. Anyone else?
I think, Chase, you have your hand up as well.
Yeah, first, thanks, man. This was a great presentation. A lot of good information in it. Yeah. My question is, I noticed that the product that the company was selling was a $3,000 price point, which you used for your math as to what it was going to save them. Mm-hmm. Did you guys, I guess, what was your experience with different companies and the product that they were selling in terms of like a sweet spot, like that $3K price point? I can see the return being pretty quick, whereas some cheaper, products, it maybe doesn't scale as quick, or it's not as, the ROI is not as high.
Yeah, a really funny one I had was, I never would have thought of this before, a custom fragrance company. So basically they call up brides and sell them fancy little custom made like perfumes, and every single person at the wedding will get this like little get their name and the like the smell of that perfume like in front of them when they sit down at the wedding, right? They were about $150 each, these things. They were getting people in through Facebook. So these people were pretty warm. They were getting cold pretty much instantly, like 3 minutes actually, to be specific, within, because it increases the chance of them picking up or closing that person by about 400% if you contact them within the first 5 minutes. They were able to book a few people, and even with the cost of VAPI, which isn't, to be honest, that much, they were able to still recuperate. So it just kind of, I think it's all worth it in the end, because AI, from what I've seen, is a lot cheaper to run than having a person work 24/7.
Sweet.
From some numbers that I've seen as well, AI so far has cost them about 12.5% of a person's wage, and it probably does the job of about 3 people. If anyone's keen for some math.
Crazy.
Okay, awesome. I think SK has a pretty good question coming up, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hello, Henrik. Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, I was just chugging some water, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Henrik, for this presentation. I'm Sana from Jax Groups. My question is the AI voice agent works for any industry or niche? For example, if I take the example of the real estate agent, can we imagine this scenario to recall their customers or their potential buyers or potential houses sellers? Or because in such niche, for example, straight relationship and proximity is important. So does it hurt? Can it hurt? I mean, I am thinking of what use case can this AI voice agent add value or harness, you see?
Yeah, we had real estate agents reach out to us, and we've built a few of those solutions. So people are interested in buying those solutions, if that's what you're asking. Yes. Setting up a real estate set up properly, though, is very difficult, because it would involve having a database that is automatically updated every day, and for the AI to be able to read from that database accurately and pretty fast and not make any mistakes as it given back in for about, let's say, property viewings from Zillow, for example. It's all very, I'm not sure if real estate is an easy one to start off with, unless you have an experienced voice AI agency that could help you with that. I'd probably, if you want to start off with, I'd go with something pretty like customer support, and just like an intake questionnaire. Recently, we had one that a doctor wanted, that he spent 30 minutes with his patients, just taking down notes about the histories, about the back pains, about the neck pains, and it took him about 30 minutes. And we've provided him a solution where people just call up and then take questions. So something like that is a lot easier to set up, and it still gives a lot more value, still the same amount of value to a business.
But for example, for the real estate agents, accept this problem. I understand for the amount of people in their database, but if for those that use, for example, for some people, how do their customers behave regarding this calling from AI? Do they value? Do they? Because in real estate, it's really important to have the person to be in proximity with the agent. You see.
We've actually seen like the amount of people that called the agents. Some agents weren't able to even pick up the phone from those people. So our agent was unable to pick up the phone instantly, answer the questions, find a property viewing, book them into a calendar so they can then speak with the agent when they're available, and then the agent will then call back that person with already information gathered from that call. So I think that they were able to, the customer support reviews like increased because they were able to be instantly picked up by our Voice AI solution.
Okay, thank you very much.
Awesome. I'm just going to jump to a question in the chat for you, Henrik. I think Hitesh is asking, how much of the information should stay in knowledge base VS prompts? Does it affect the quality of the voice agent? I think we've briefly touched on that.
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. VAPI and retail almost work the same with the knowledge base. So what VAPI does, each turn when you ask it a question, so each time I talk to Ellen, I'll ask her, hey Ellen, can you tell me about Henrik's appointments? If you put this, if you assign a document here, it will grab 500 tokens, which is, I'm going to write that down. It will grab 500 tokens, which is roughly like 350, about 300 words worth of information each turn, which, if you guys didn't know, in VAPI, if I were to copy this prompt over and over again, what's the cost on that? At the moment, it's 12 cents. Just going to copy that like 5 times. You now scroll back up. It's now up to 16 cents a minute. So imagine you're asking the knowledge base each turn. I think this is actually roughly about 500 tokens, if you're curious. Hmm, 250 words. Okay, so double that, almost. So you're putting more than that into the prompt each time you ask the AI a question. So this number that you saw there, which was 12 cents before, actually is not going to be 12 cents because we've now grabbing information from the knowledge base every turn. So you'll most likely see this to be about 16 to 19 cents because of that. So I don't actually recommend for production purposes using the inbuilt knowledge bases here. We use solutions like Pinecone Assistance, for instance, just an example, where we ask a very specific, we already query a knowledge base, and it gives us back an answer that's already very specifically aimed at that question. So hopefully that answers your question.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that was quite comprehensive. Matthew Wright, I think you have your hand up.
Hey, thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
How are you?
Thanks for your time. This is great. I was wondering if you could walk quickly through the pickup rate and conversion rate numbers you had there. Sure. Like, I'm trying to get a sense of like baseline, like what's kind of average in terms of pickup. And then it's all offer specific and lead quality specific, but like in terms of the conversion, but like what the pickup, yeah, here we go. Cool.
Yeah. So I think we had more numbers there. Obviously, I didn't give you guys everything. From memory, We also had a little tip. We had an inbound agent set up. And that inbound agent, that 27%, 27.5% here, that jumped up from 23% to that number because we had an inbound agent set up. So when we called someone, they would call back, be like, oh, who's this? And from those calls, when people then call back, we actually managed to book in 4% extra because there was an inbound agent set up.
Gotcha. So that completion rate is 27.5% of the total lead volume?
Yeah, based on the 20K. Sorry, out of the 36,000 calls, 27.5% were booked appointments.
Got it. Okay, that's helpful. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Let's jump to Jonathan, if you'll unmute yourself.
Hey again, Henrik.
Hey.
I was in your session yesterday. I just came up with another question since then.
Awesome.
Did you get to play or see the difference between the VAPI squads or the blocks versus the retail multi-prompt agents? Do you know, have you seen which one works better?
I'd say the blocks are still in development. I wouldn't put that into production as of now. However, VAPI just got $20 million put into their funding, and I know they are investing quite a lot of time and money and manpower into making that better. So as of today, I wouldn't say so. However, squads are an amazing solution, and they might do the same kind of idea as, I'm not sure if you've been in retail, they also offer the multi-prompt agent with stages. So they pretty much do the same thing. The performance between those two, squads are really good. We've used them for about 15 projects, and they've worked fine. We haven't had many issues with those at all. And we use squads because we want to have use up less tokens each run. So we basically use the handover thing for the squad transfer, and it deletes the previous prompt and adds another prompt in so that I can do it the next, like, let's say I have like an intro prompt and I have one that just books, and that's one job. And you can basically replicate the same thing in retail AI using the multi-prompt setup.
Okay, so they're roughly about the same. The reason why I asked is because I have one agent setup that I think should be split up into either squads or the multi-prompt. It would like answer questions, it would do lead capture / book appointments, and then also does a lot of call transfers. So I'm like, I don't think all of that should be on the one agent. That should be split up into quite a few.
Now the
right?
booking stuff, man, do that completely separate. So that's when squads come in. So you'd have like the intro thing, and if someone wants to book it or reschedule or cancel an appointment, you move it to another agent that specializes in, it has the time, it has two functions or maybe three, that has cancel, book, and check availabilities. And that's his three tools, whereas maybe the other agent has access to other tools. So you also don't like overwhelm one guy with too many things to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And like with the transfer calls, there's like probably 20 different numbers.
Yeah, that's fine. Just do the VAPI, do the call forwarding, and just put that in your prompt as well. So
is it easier to do with VAPI now? Because I know with retail, it's pretty easy to do the call transfers. They have that little function.
Yeah, you'd have to patch your assistant with the call forwarding.
Okay, so you set up to patch it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you. That's what I had.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Just a quick question from the chat. Chase is asking, what's the ratio of inbound versus outbound agents you're selling?
We had roughly like, I said like 18 projects to start, but we do like 50 little ones on the side here along this year. So just the main ones, I'd say about 15 were inbound or like warm lead stuff, and 5 were outbound.
Okay, sweet. And back to live questions. Jonathan, if you want to hop on.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, hang on.
Okay, great. Hey, I had a couple of questions because I was pitching a customer about doing a bunch of outbound here in Texas, and the legal aspects of reaching out from B2B and B2C came up, and with the B2C, unless it's like they've agreed to get the call or you're disclosing that this an automated, you guess what where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with that? And, even with B2B, we do a lot with mortgage and real estate. And they were like, my attorney was like, don't even call those guys in California if it go, stick with flyover states because they're not going to complain as much, even if it's going to their personal cell phone. How do you address that, especially when you're making sales, and if you've done that in America, and, how to handle that? Appreciate it.
It's one of the main reasons why we stick away from outbound. It's a lot more hassle for us and for them. But if you were to handle it, at the moment, it is actually legal to call someone without the permission using AI in the United States and Europe. They're cracking down on that pretty hard. So to get around that, there's a few things. One, obviously, you would have to set up and verify an actual number within, let's say, Twilio. Verify your business. You're calling for business reasons. If you're doing B2B, and that's like one thing. Second thing you would need to do is to get the permission somehow to be able to call them. So let's say with my other guy that was doing the Facebook lead forms and was calling people about his fragrances or perfumes, he was getting them to check a little box that said you agree to being called or I don't remember the exact wording, but he worded it in such a way so that he wouldn't then get in trouble, but because he was a robot calling them. So that's another way to get around it. And the third thing we do have to do in Europe is you have to put a little disclaimer in there that the call is being recorded for whatever training and whatever purposes, right? So the person does have to know that when you're calling them as well. So that's like 3 things I would do.
Does one of my mentors was like, hey, why don't you do a voicemail drop? And then when they call back, they're actually initiating the call. But I didn't know is it possible to even do voicemail drops with this kind of, with VAPI or retail? I don't even know if that would be compliant or not, but.
I'm not sure what you mean by voicemail drop. I've never heard that term before. You mean just calling them up and when they don't pick up, there's the voicemail?
Yeah, it's called a ringless voicemail drop. So it doesn't even ring your cell phone. It just goes straight to voicemail, and then it leaves a message. And sometimes, when you get a voicemail, you just call it back. And that, because they're contacting you, it's legal. But it's kind of like I didn't know if it's even possible.
That's a little gimmick, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's really shifty, but you got to try, right?
Look, I think the fine is like $5,000 if they report you for doing that kind of thing. And so it's completely up to you or your client, honestly, at that stage, if you guys want to try that.
Yeah, very important thing you guys have just touched upon there. So yeah, over to Florian next.
Hello, thank you for that awesome presentation. My question pertains to using Pinecone. So you said in order to save costs, you're using Pinecone to retrieve the knowledge base for the business. My question is for long-term customer support or lead nurture to retrieve information about the client that is being deposited into Pinecone. Have you guys had any experience with that?
What do you mean depositing client's information or lead's information into Pinecone?
So I'm running a coaching business. That means every call I'm gathering more information about my client, getting to know them better, etc. And if I were to use a voice agent like that for checking in with them, seeing how they're doing, and to be able to retrieve all of the information that they have given the business over the previous calls. Have you guys had Or can that be done with Pinecone just in the same way as retrieving the businesses?
I would stick to having Pinecone to purely handling like large documents of information, like an FAQ of like 50 questions or a document of the POS systems. I don't know, like something big, right? With the things you're mentioning with like client info, what I would then recommend is keeping a CRM. So this is separate from a knowledge base, right? Keeping a CRM and then updating your CRM based on your client's information that happened during the call. And then before the call happens, each time the AI then grabs that info from your CRM, updates itself with that info, and then calls the person with it.
In order to get started with that, would Airtable be a viable solution? Just
Perfect.
To get
Amazing. I love Airtable.
Yeah, got it. And then second brief question I put in the chat earlier is, I saw the course that you guys put together, and there is a tutorial for using a Twilio number in retail, but only for European numbers. So if I have an American number, can I both use retail and VAPI without a problem with an American Twilio number?
Yeah, so I've only done the European because I haven't had the chance to make the US one, but you can basically replicate the same workflow I did there, but instead of doing it in Ireland like I did, you would just do it in the US section. It's literally the same workflow.
Okay, great. So just one second, just to get it. So I would update the Airtable with the information about the client, and then that would feed into the VAPI module within Make.com within the automation, right? Or would you physically?
So your first call, so if you don't have any info on that person, so you're starting from zero, right? You give them a call. At the end of the call, you would fill in Airtable with that information, whatever that is. Their name, the goals for the day, let's say. Yep. Then the next day, when AI calls them, I actually have a video on YouTube for this on my channel. It will grab the next day's information, but I'm using Notion instead of Airtable. It will grab the information and then call them with, so did you do your 3 goals from yesterday?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that type of thing. So Airtable is perfect for that. I just use Notion for it, but the same idea.
Yeah, throw them in the chat, please. I would love to check that out. Thank you.
The video.
Yeah, so I've linked Henrik's YouTube channel. Hopefully we can find that specific video. Just on that, Henrik, I think Paul in the chat is asking about Pinecone chunking and Pinecone assistance. Do you have any specific chunking strategy? And do you generally just pull out 3 to 5 matches? Do you have any best practices for that?
Yeah, there are 2 options with Pinecone. You can upload or insert or upsert into a index, and you can create specific like records with specific IDs that you can then retrieve and turn up a top K to 10 or 2. And then obviously you can also control the chunking there. If you were going that way, I'd probably recommend a small amount of that. So probably like 250 chunk size for that, so that we can retrieve an ID or a few IDs based off that. But we don't actually use that for our voice AI agents, because what ends up happening is in the end, we do a thing called a handover. So all our products or our solutions, our client actually, it's all made on their accounts. So when they want to update a knowledge base or something like that, I don't want them to have to deal with API calls and updating and inserting special vector databases, right? In Pinecone, there is a second option. There's a thing called Pinecone Assistant, and that's the solution we use. So they just have a little drag and drop thing. They just chuck their documents into it, and then we make an API call to Pinecone, and then the Pinecone Assistant actually takes care for us all the chunking and everything for us automatically without having to actually put much effort into it, and still gets a very good result. And pretty quick too, actually. It's about 3 seconds.
Yeah, great. Like you say, always want ease of use from the client side if they're not particularly technical. Just a heads up on time. I think it's 7:58, so we might have one
person. Yeah.
So SK, if you want to jump in.
Yes, thank you. Just a last question: how much such system we can charge for? Because if I'm not wrong, you mentioned it costs you 30,000 to 40,000, or was I wrong?
No, so that number was 36,000 calls we made. So that's different.
Yeah, but you have the 3,000. Was it make operations, or why is it?
Yeah, so for the total, just for the LLM to be able to call, like VAPI cost, 11 labs, transcription, all that, that was about 3K for that amount of calls. It's a big amount of calls. For a small business, you're looking maybe like $100 a month for like, I don't know, like, I don't want to make up a number now, but gut feeling like 800 calls a month would be like $100 or something, which is pretty damn cheap.
And so $100, this is the cost. So what, just to have an idea how much we can charge for such service depending on the size of, I don't know if you have some indication on the, depending of the importance of the AI voice agents and how much we can charge for.
We started off with, our first project was $1,200. And we don't really care about how much it costs to run. The reason is we use their accounts. So they put their own credit card on their account, and then they pay for all this stuff. So we don't worry about the cost of managing all that. When you've got let's say 10 projects going on at once, and you've got 10 others in the pipeline, and you're doing sales calls and everything in between, you don't have time to manage someone else's credit card and all that. So I don't recommend actually thinking about it in terms of how much will it cost in VAPI, but in terms of how much is the solution going to help them solve a problem. So how much pain is it going to solve for them? And price it based off that.
I totally agree with you on this. So based on the help of this AI voice agent, because it's really helpful, and you show us the case where you cut their, you bring them more clients by this calling up. I wanted just to have an idea about how much we can charge them for the customer based on the value we provide with those such AI voice agent.
If you're talking to a Fortune 500 company, you can charge them quite a lot. We can probably go like 50K plus. But if you're talking to a two-man team and the amount of money they make a month is, let's say, 4K a month, you're not going to charge them much. They're not going to be able to pay much. So you also got to kind of have a look into how much they can afford to pay for this thing and how much is it going to pay off in the long run for them. If it's going to, let's say, remove a receptionist for them and it costs them 40K a year, let's say you do 10% of that, you charge them 4K for a booking appointment setter in retail, just the same thing I showed you guys today. I probably wouldn't go 4K, less than 4K for an appointment setter that's properly set up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Cool. I think we'll finish there then. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. So keep this Figma link on your, I'll put it in the chat again. Goes in here. I will put the recording and all the links to all those templates and stuff probably tomorrow, because my Google account has to transcribe and then download this whole file from this today's recording. So you guys will have access to that later on. Thank you, Jack community, and anyone else who organized it. Appreciate you guys.
Henrik, you're the best, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Henrik.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Henrik. Thanks, Henrik. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Good night.